Hello. I'm reading from Genesis chapter 3. This is the fall. Starting from verse 1. Now the serpent was the most crafty than any wild animals the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" The woman said to the serpent, "We may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God did say, you must not eat from the tree that is in the middle of the garden. You must not touch it, or you will surely die." "You will not die," said the serpent to the woman, "for God knows that when you eat it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." When the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. She also gave some to her husband, who was with her, and he ate it. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they realized they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together and made coverings for themselves. Then the man and the wife heard the sound of the Lord God, and he was walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and they hid from him. And the Lord God called to the man and said, "Where are you?" He answered, I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." Then he said, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree that I commanded you not to eat from?" The man said, "The woman you put with me, she gave me some fruit from the tree, and I ate it." Then the Lord God said to the woman, "What is this that you have done?" The woman said, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." So the Lord God said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, cursed are you among all livestock and wild animals. You will crawl on your belly, and you will eat dust all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel."
Quick change of tack, change hat, move around. You might want to take a deep breath. We're moving into Advent. So what is Advent? Advent is great, isn't it? It's December now, so I can talk about Christmas. I refuse to talk about Christmas outside of December, okay? I seem to have had adverts for Christmas since the day we arrived back in England in September. But what is Advent? What is it? It's a looking forward. It's literally a word that means coming. So what's coming? And if you look at the press, I think there is a message in the world around us that what's coming is a baby. So let's just fix that little message. There's a baby coming, okay? The babies take 9 months, I believe. And that 9 months period for any family is an exciting time. And it's full of preparation. It's full of getting ready. So that's what Advent is about. Advent is when we start thinking about getting ready for the coming of Jesus. So what does it look like to get ready? And all those preparations are great. I love them. You know, there's what sort of things? It all revolves around food, doesn't it? Because Christmas really is Christmas dinner. But there's lots of food. You have to get in training to eat your Christmas dinner. You know, you have to have mulled wine, and you have to have mince pies. You have to do lots of preparation. There's all the making of mince pies. The supermarkets sell out of ground almonds and sausage meat. It's all an excitement. There's a sense that everybody is getting ready for a baby. So Advent has 3 aspects to it when we look at it. The baby Jesus, there's a baby coming. This baby Jesus, as we know, is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, is God coming down to earth in human form, a baby. He came as a baby. The world was waiting for this baby. Mary and Joseph saw this baby come. So Advent is Jesus is coming, a baby is coming. Another aspect of Jesus coming is that he comes to our hearts. Ever since that day when Jesus was born and he came into the world, he opened a way for each one of us, every person in the world, to have Jesus come into our hearts. So Jesus is coming now, and that's why we celebrate Advent here and now, because Jesus comes to us. He didn't just come 2,000 years as a baby. He comes into my heart. people, ordinary people, refugees, people with nothing. Jesus comes to them. So Advent is Jesus is coming, a baby is coming. And then Advent 3 is Jesus will come, because he's coming again. You know, we're going to look at the problem in a minute, which is what we read in the Bible. And Jesus came to deal with the problem, but he hasn't finished dealing with it until he comes again. So we're celebrating today that the problem that we live with now, and we all have problems, we all have tragedies, disappointments, failures, those problems will disappear when Jesus comes again. So Jesus is coming, a baby is coming. And I love that. I love it that a baby is coming. You know, he's not a man in a big robe. He's not somebody who's really good at speaking. He's not someone who makes sense all the time. He's a baby. He can't even speak, can't walk. Jesus chose to challenge us to say that a baby is coming is the hope of the world. So Genesis 3, 1 to 15, a very familiar story, acting out in lots of comedies. You know, when Adam blames his wife, when he should, you know, there's all sorts of silly things in there. This event that occurred 2,000 years ago, right in the beginning of time, says things that are very important to us now. Excuse me. In the garden, let's just go back into that garden. Everything was good, yeah? Everything was provided. Everything was working. There was food and there was shelter. There was no shortage of mince pies or ground almonds. They didn't run out of toilet rolls. The online clothes always fitted when they arrived. There was no disease. There was no queues to get a doctor's appointment. You can tell what I've encountered since I've been back in England. There were no train strikes, and there are no refugees. And then Eve ate the apple. And the problem began. Adam and Eve had been trusted. They'd said, don't eat the apple. And they said, okay, we won't eat the apple. But they betrayed that trust because of the deceit of a serpent. They were attracted to disobedience. And that is a human condition. We're all sometimes attracted to disobey. They listened to a lie that they liked. And we hear lies that we like, and we sometimes choose to listen to them and dwell on them and feed our hearts with a lie. And we know it's a lie, but we like it. So God cursed the serpent, and a battle started that day in the garden. The serpent was given an ability to hurt the heel, but Jesus' heel crushed the head of the serpent. That's the most important thing from that passage, that we must never forget. The serpent would like us to forget, but his head is crushed. We may feel the teeth of the serpent biting our heel. I'm sure we all know that feeling. But we look to Jesus, and Jesus crushes that head under his heel. In the coming weeks, we will see all through the history of Israel that the Jews were looking for the one who is coming. John the Baptist came sent messengers and said to the disciples of Jesus, "Is he the one who is coming?" One day, 2,000 years ago, Mary and Joseph saw the one being born in a stable, and they were the first to say, "He has come. Jesus has come. This one that the whole world has been waiting for. We've all got a problem. We know about it. It started in the Garden of Eden. But there's one coming." And since that day that he came, the church has been proclaiming faithfully that Jesus has come. Jesus is the only answer for our condition, and the church proclaims it loud and clear. He has come. And today, here in this building, we also proclaim that Jesus has come to each one of us. And in that coming to us, we find that the serpent's head who's trying to bite our heel is crushed. I'll skip that bit. I just want to take you back to another little bit in that story, because it really moved me several months ago talking with some of the refugees on an evening. Remember, God was walking in the garden to find Adam and Eve after they'd eaten of the apple. And what had they done? They'd made some fig leaves and they'd hidden. Those fig leaves, just as an aside, those fig leaves were an indication of our self-sufficiency. That was man trying to make his own answer to the problem. They knew a problem had happened when they ate the apple, when things went crazy, and they tried to cover it up with fig leaves. That's man's self-sufficiency, and sometimes we think we can solve the problem. Later on in the story, after the passage we read, God made them clothes out of animal skins. Fur coats even. And a day like today, I need a fur coat. Let's take the clothes that God gives us. Because that's what this message is about. God's given us a coat. But when God was walking in the garden looking for Adam and Eve, was he angry? Because you see, he would have known what they were going to do. When he set it all up in place, he knew men, he knew Adam and Eve, he knew what we were like, he knew what was going to happen, he knew that we were going to eat the apple. He wasn't surprised, he didn't go in the garden, "Oh, something's happened." He knew what had happened. And I always used to think that God was angry and he had to punish man. And you get that image from the church that talks about sin and the problem of sin, and you need to stop sinning, and you feel that God is behind that and he's coming angry. But when he walked in the garden, and when he comes here today, he's not angry with anyone. He feels there's a separation, there's a problem. And what does he do? He doesn't sit there and say, "Okay, come and find me. I'm here waiting for you." No, he's walking in the garden. He knows exactly where they're hiding, because they're hiding and we hide. We're very good at hiding. He knows exactly where they're hiding. But he's not going to reveal them in an angry way and say, "I found you, I've caught you." It's not his way. He says, "Where are you?" He wants to establish communication. And that's why Jesus had to come, because he had to establish communication. He makes the first move. He always makes the first move. You see, it had gone horribly wrong. And what did God do? He came into the garden and he said, "Where are you?" And they felt that they could talk to him. And so they came to him and they told him. They talked to him as a friend. They explained, "This is what happened. I messed up. And God did what he had to do. They could no longer stay in the garden. Things had changed. But at that moment, right at the beginning in creation, when he put all this amazing world together, he put in a plan saying that one will come who will sort it out, who will finish it off. And that's why today is a Sunday of hope, because they sowed the seed of that hope right there, right at the beginning when he was putting it all together. And he sets them off out of the garden on an adventure that we get to join in. So listen this morning. God is saying, where are you? It's echoed down through the ages, ever since the beginning of time. God comes and he says, where are you? We like to demand and say, God, where are you? But all along, God is saying, I'm here, where are you? Are you in a garden of self-sufficiency? Saying, look at my new clothes. These fig leaves are the latest fashion, they're the best. Are you trying to impress God with how sufficient you are? Do you think you've done enough to impress God, to earn his favour? This angry God, have you done enough? So this message is about God putting a promise in place, and he's making the first move, and he's coming to you, and he's saying, where are you? And we just have to come like Adam and say, I am naked. I have nothing. I am hiding, and I don't like it. Be my friend again. Let's talk about it. That's our response. We don't have any other response. We can't impress him, because he's done it all. He's changed us. He came to us when we were still sinners. We didn't deserve it. And he took us naked and weak. And he takes us every time naked and weak and changes us. And that's the promise. That's the promise that answers the problem. And that's Advent coming true. Thank you.